Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. This month's webinar, hosted by Cutting Edge Curriculum, is going to talk about our new Sustainable Energy Alternatives Library. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Before we get started, we're going to do some quick introductions. I am Callie Shorefighty, the Marketing Manager for Cutting Edge Curriculum, and I'll hand it over to Mindy.
I am Mindy Nichols. I am the business manager and customer service contact for help with the website.
And I'm Lindy Coker, and I just want to remind you that for the webinar today, any questions, you can use the Q&A feature. The webinar is being recorded, and we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our website. If you ever need to get a hold of us, cuttingedgecurriculum.org. It also will take you to the My Cart landing page if you need that link as well. We do have a few slides to work through just to have a basic understanding of what this curriculum is and what it's about. Our newest library that we have released is called Sustainable Energy Alternatives Curriculum. And this is introducing students to environmentally energy sources, lots of different topics that are in this particular library. Students are going to analyze and design alternative energy systems throughout either classroom activities, lab activities, group activities. Again, we're using the 5E lesson model on this particular library. The curriculum focuses on renewability, sustainability. It covers solar, wind, geothermal, biomass, and emerging technologies. We're going to go through some of the other specific topics here shortly. The reason why, we'll go to the next slide, the reason why that we are releasing an energy curriculum is that there is a new career cluster that was released about a year ago. The title of it is Energy and Natural Resources. And this is going to allow for new courses and opportunities of learning about new energy topics. And so this curriculum, this energy curriculum, is also related to some of our newer careers and topic areas in the industry of harnessing the natural elements of solar, nuclear, wind, and hydro power. So we have to think about what are some of those jobs, and solar, sometimes also referred to as PV, those installers are going to be installing those solar panels that you've probably seen, whether it is in a field alongside the interstate or on top of someone's home. And then we also have solar engineers that are going to design and develop these types of projects. And then also from the standpoint of moving the captured energy to and from. And then project managers, just like we have in any sort of a project, being able to help students understand that these large solar projects also have those key managers. We did do a couple lessons on nuclear, which is our next slide. And nuclear is, again, an energy source. And so sometimes we do talk a little bit about nuclear energy in science classes. But again, we found the need to include a couple of lessons. They are a little higher in content from the standpoint of science, but they are very challenging also to the student. But relating to those careers would be nuclear energy engineer, and then also operators at those power plants. The next area of possible careers to tie this curriculum to is wind. We have seen quite a few of wind turbines go up in the United States all across. So you have technicians, you have engineers, you also have analysts that are also going to be working on sites to determine selection as well as site preparation. Another unit is hydropower. Now, this is a very interesting unit because we've really had, we've used these natural sources of energy for so many years, but the hydropower, it's a fun unit, some really great activities. So again, back to engineer, designing and constructing hydroelectric power plants, a reservoir engineer, and then a hydrologist. And then I did throw together just a couple of lists of other types of roles across energy types. And so being able to talk to students about, what those look like and how they can see themselves in those types of roles. And then the last thing, we'll kind of go through this. So engineers, technicians, analysis. You also have policy and finance, and then data, software, construction and trades, as well as management. The next component I wanted to share with you is that these lessons are aligned to Next Generation Science Standards. So we typically refer to that as NGSS. And then we've also aligned them to the newest standards that were posted from the Center of Energy Workforce Development, which is called CEWD, Energy and Natural Resources Content Standards. And so those are also very supported by the new initiative and the new career cluster. At this time, I'm going to have Callie go to her account, and we're going to scroll through a couple of these unit titles. So as Callie logs into the MyCart system, she is going to open up the library, and this library is going to display those specific units. So Unit A focuses just on renewable energy. There are 3 lessons within Unit A, and some of the topic areas is either comparing and contrasting fuels and energy, as well as what makes an energy source what we call renewable or non-renewable. Another lesson really focuses on alternative energy and also the impacts of the environment. And then we also have the role of green energy in modern agriculture. So we link it into the practical challenges that these types of opportunities also gives to our agricultural producers. The next unit is Unit B, which is the solar energy. And this is actually a pretty in-depth unit that goes into all of its applications, whether we're talking about passive environment systems with solar or even photovoltaic systems, which is known as the PV. Also impacts of solar, of movement and positioning of those types of solar fields. Unit C is on wind. There are 2 lessons on that particular topic, as well as again, just explaining how wind energy is generated into electricity, and then also the factors that influence wind effectiveness. So 2 pretty good lessons in that particular unit. Unit D is on geothermal, which if any of you have a geothermal heat to your house, you have a little bit of knowledge of where that comes from. So we did 2 lessons on geothermal. As well as just understanding how it is harnessed and then how we use it, as well as a heat pump, as how it's used as a typical resident location or building. The next unit is on biomass. The term biomass really does come from, just from the leftovers of a corn and soybean field or any sort of vegetative material that has maybe another source. And so there are 5 lessons in biomass, and these are all excellent lessons covering from the production of biodiesel, as well as talking about anaerobic digestion, and then getting into conditions of composting, as well as just distinguishing some of those different methods. The next unit, Unit F, is emerging technologies. There are 2 lessons in emerging technologies, and this just allows for the student to dive into, again, some additional topic areas in energy resources. And then the last one is Unit G, which is nuclear energy. It just goes into the general process of understanding nuclear fission, as well as the energy output of energy fission and potential environmental impacts of uranium mining. Again, some other topic areas that you can have a lot of discussion with your students, as well as learning some of the basics. Now we're going to dive into Unit F, which we are going to open up to the first lesson that we're going to just kind of take you through today and give you a sneak peek into this particular lesson. And at this point in time, I'm going to have Callie maybe take over for just a moment because she is going to pull together a course outline.
Yes. So as you can see, as Lindy was kind of taking you into a deeper dive into what this Sustainable Energy Library is composed of, you can also walk through the steps of creating a course outline in MyCart. So as you click on a library, it takes you to a list of the units, and then you have your list of lessons. From there, you can choose which lessons you want to add to your course outline. For right now, we're just going to work from Unit F. There are 2 lessons in this specific, there are multiple lessons right in this specific unit. But here we have all of the lessons listed for the Sustainable Energy Alternatives Library. If we go down in our saved course outline view, down here to section F is what we are working in today. So we have emerging renewable energy resources. That's one lesson. And then the one we're going to work with today is hydroelectric power systems and biogeochemical cycles. If you click on this title right here, it takes you to the actual lesson plan. And you can see right away at the top, you have kind of your core components. It tells you right away how many days this lesson will take to cover. This one says 10 days of instructional time. Keep in mind that this is based off a 45-minute class period, just like all of our other 5E libraries. Then you have those standards that Lindy referenced, the NGSS and then CEWD standards. Then you have your essential question and your student learning objectives. From there, it's the same as our other 5E libraries. We go into each E. So we have engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Today, we're going to be covering this engaging section, and we're going to show you a sample activity so you can kind of get a feel for what this library looks like. But as you saw at the top, 10 days of instructional time, there are several activities in just this one lesson. So in the engaging section, sometimes it's referred to, this is where you just kind of do like an opening activity. You might call it a bell ringer, you just might call it an interest approach, whatever it is, you're trying to get your students interested in the topic. So we tell you exactly what to do at number 1, and then number 2, we have you do these activities. So this one, we're just going to click on activity number 1, the daily grind. If you click on that, it is hyperlinked, so it takes you right to the student page down below. This is an activity using some coffee beans. So as you can see here, it tells you all the materials you're going to need for this activity. These are the instructions. You use a mortar and pestle for this. You place your beans in the mortar, use the pestle to gently kind of grind them up until you reach a sand-like consistency. It tells you exactly what to do next. Transfer them, pour 1 cup of hot water over them, stir the mixture, then strain it, add ice, and enjoy your coffee. But while you're doing that, you're also doing a little bit of learning, and you do answer these reflection questions at the end. Now, for an activity like this, where these questions are a little bit more open-ended, we don't have a strict answer key. Not every answer is going to look exactly the same. So if you do go back up to the engaging section of the lesson plan, it will tell you there are some teacher notes listed. So it might say anticipated findings. These are some comments that your students might make. And then it'll give you some little hints here. Sometimes for activities, it will also give you additional ideas. So if you do have students that are very interested in the topic, you can take it one step further and take this topic into another activity or make it a group activity or whatever it might be. But all of your answer keys, all of your student worksheets and everything like that is included in your lesson plan. All of these materials are copyrighted. They are able to access through a subscription. If you are a customer, you saw in our October newsletter that we did include a free sample activity for you to use. So if you are interested, you can kind of take a look at that. But for right now, I'm going to go back to the MyCart site, and you can see here is the name of our lesson. There are additional materials such as a PowerPoint and an e-unit. If I click on the e-unit, you'll see it looks very similar to our other 5e e-units, but it is nice to have all of your key terms at the top. You have your objective at the top, and then same thing, you scroll throughout. We try to break it up with lots of images, sometimes graphs, sometimes additional links that you can go and do a little bit of further research. But then at the bottom, our e-units make really great sub-plans if you're out of the classroom, especially if you're going to National Convention coming up here at the end of the month. The students can read through here and then answer all these questions at the end in the checking your knowledge section. Once again, if you are looking for something extra or your students are very interested, we do always include this expanding your knowledge section. You can sometimes get the students out of the classroom, or maybe just do a little extra research project, or maybe bring someone into your classroom. Just kind of depends, but we do give you some good prompts there for additional activities. Now we are going to kind of wrap it up here at the end, but I do want to pass it over to Mindy, and she's going to show you how to add some students into the system.
So as Callie and Lindy mentioned, we've got these really awesome e-units and PowerPoints. Those can be assigned to your students. So, you might be asking, how does my students view these? So it will go up to that My Students tab. We make it super easy. If you go down to that third options where it says Add Students by Bulk Email, you can simply add in your student email addresses. You can copy and paste them over with no punctuation between them. You're going to click that Submit button out to the right. And then your students are going to receive an email from MyCart giving them their username and password, and then an invitation on how to set up their account. And so once they do that, they can either log into the MyCart system directly, and you can assign those materials, or you can assign them over to Google Classroom. You might have seen the links as Callie was scrolling through that course outline. Once you enter those student email addresses, then you're going to see under your Edit Student tab, down there at the bottom, it's just going to say temp last name, temp first name. Those students, that means they have not yet set up their account. They just simply log in as a student and add their information. If you do want to use Google Classroom, as long as they enter in that Google email and click the box, it's a super easy, seamless process where they don't even have to use their login. So there's a lot of benefits to adding students to the system and have them log directly into MyCart, and that is the quizzing portion. There are reports that you can run. The grading is all done by standard, and you'll have some really easy reporting that you can either submit to your administration, or you can figure out what do my students still need to learn more about. So hope that you will check that out.
Yes, and as Mindy mentioned, you can come in here and create some quizzes. So just briefly, I'm going to show you how to create a new quiz using that lesson that we just used as an example. So if I call this my Sustainable Energy Quiz A, that's going to be our name for now. I assign it to that course that I created earlier called Sustainable Energy Alternatives. All of these options are set to default, so we're just going to leave them for now, but of course you can always come back and edit these. After you click Add New Quiz, you'll see you have a couple options over here on the right-hand side for adding questions. You can type your own question, or you can use the ones that we've already created for you by course outline. If you click on that, once again, it will pull up all of your saved course outlines, and you navigate to the one you created called Sustainable Energy Alternatives. If you click Choose Lessons, it will expand and show you the whole list. We're going to use the questions from the activity or the lesson that we looked at earlier and click Submit. Then it will populate a list of questions for me. There's 12 in this particular lesson. There's anywhere from 5 to 15 questions per lesson. So keep that in mind if you're going in to create a large unit quiz or a semester exam or anything like that. You might have several questions to sift through yourself, so just keep that in mind. But I'm going to select all of these for now and then add them to my quiz. This is all you would really have to do if you're kind of preparing your quizzes for the school year. If you want to actually assign this quiz, you do have to make sure that the quiz is marked as active. So once this loads here, you'll see this little bar. You can click that little button, and then make your quiz active. And then any students that you have in this course will be able to see it. If you do want to use this quiz in other formats, if you need to print it out, if you want to use it as an answer sheet, or if you want to use it as a Word document, you can export this here in the bottom where it says print quiz / answer sheet. And here you have several options. You can save as a PDF, you can print, or you can export it and use your quiz that way. And like Minnie mentioned, after your students have taken the quiz, you can view all of your reports, your student answers, what time they took the quiz, how many attempts they had. All of that data is there in your My Quizzes tab. That is it for the My Cart side of things in the actual system. I'm going to go back to our slideshow here and kind of hand it back over to Lindy, and she's going to wrap up for us.
Thanks, Callie, and thank you to Mindy for joining us. Again, these are just some very simple steps to be able to use the My Cart system to make your life so much simpler in the classroom. As well as a few other items that we just wanted to be sure that we highlighted, that if you ever have any questions, we do offer a quick guide. We have tutorials, and we're always available to help. And then keep an eye out for us on social media. We're always either posting some, helpful hints or what we're doing here lately. But if you're coming to National Convention, we'll see you next week. I don't see any questions in the comments or anything. So have a great day and enjoy the rest of your evening. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.